Nice.
Welcome, Walter and Chet, to our newest episode of Tilton the Scales. I'm coming to you from my Lone Star State studio in Austin, Texas. It's good to see both of you. How's your week's been?
Not
Great
bad.
week, Nate. It's always a pleasure to see you. It's been a great week here in Hill. We just celebrated my son's seventh birthday. It's been party after party after party. Playing a little bit of laser tag tomorrow. Very excited. Good to see
Dang.
you, Chat. How have you been?
Love it. Love laser tag. I am in Goffstown, 1761, by the way, where we started. And my son just had a great football practice, toughed it out through a couple of tough not injuries, but he got hurt a couple times, and we're ready for the football game this weekend. So we're pretty excited here too.
Nice. Is that Cameron's football game or the Patriots football game?
Oh, Cameron's football game. I never thought that I would say the Patriots are not my favorite football team, but now it is the Goffstown Junior Grizzlies are my favorite football team in the world.
Dude, where's the swag at? You got some
I
merch?
got
Like,
some. I got some.
we
Are
need
you
we need
coaching, or are you just observing?
What's that?
Are you coaching? Or are you observing?
This season, I'm observing. I coached the flag for the skill positions. I could not
Do you
coach
miss
the
it?
defensive line.
Do you miss it?
Coaching? Oh my goodness, yes. Like you feel the urge, but I know my role. Stand on the sideline and watch, and then that's how it works until flag
Do you
starts. And they
feel
coach
like how's he reacting? Like how does he do coached by somebody else versus you? Like have you compared and contrasted that?
100%. I think he does better without me coaching him as far as like keeping the emotion out of it, and he just like toughs through it. If I'm there coaching him, he's like, "Dad, can you believe that guy tackled me?" I'm like, "Yeah, bud, that's football." But if
Okay.
if I'm not there and someone tackles him, he's like, gets up, he's like, "Let's go!" So like I do think
Okay.
there's a huge difference. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Good. Good.
Nice. I like to hear all that. It'll be nice. You're gonna continue coaching flag football, but it'll be nice. I'm
Yeah,
sure it's a small area up there, so I'm sure the coaches will see you coaching at flag football, and I'm sure the opportunity, if it hasn't already been, you know, if you haven't talked to the coach about it, I'm sure at some point you'll be approached about at least assisting or helping
yeah.
out with the team at some point. So
Yes,
it's
100%.
always
You absolutely will.
Looking forward to that. I
especially if
love
you
it.
want to. Especially
Yeah,
if you want to do that. I mean, it's one thing. It's hard to coach our own kids, like in all honesty, because
It is.
you,
It is.
I think you do want them to be told by others and see how they respond when others tell them certain things, especially when it comes to
great.
athletics. It's almost like you guys will see it at some point. When your kids are at home, they are almost ultimately really disrespectful to you. But then when they go to someone else's house and they're in someone else's house with their parents, they're angels. They're completely respectable, just like you told them to be,
It's
just like you tell
yeah.
them to be. But they won't do that to you. So it's just like, oh wait, you're telling me my child was an angel? Like I don't get it. I'm
The
happy to
fun the
hear
funny
that.
part of that is, Nate, is you saying that I'll know this at some point. This is literally my life. This is every day of my life. Like my kids are absolute animals at home. They're disrespectful to talk back, but they're perfect angels. They're like, oh my God, your kids were so great today. These
Yeah.
kids? Like
Oh yeah.
what?
Oh,
Yeah, this is absolutely my life. It's a comfort thing, right? They feel safe. They know how we're gonna react. Like I get it. We were all the same way.
For sure, yeah. Some
Yep.
of us worse than others, but I was definitely
Yeah.
not a nice kid to my parents, that's for sure. And very much
I
nicer
no no.
to
See
both of
now
no,
you.
that
no,
is
Much
no.
that's a false history, Nate.
Throwing a flag. I'm throwing a
You were a
flag.
far better son than either Chet or I were. The work you
Without
did,
question.
the respect you showed, far exceeded either one of us. And I have a great relationship with both my parents. Love them to death, like 100%. That is a self-deprecating comment that I will not let slide.
No, neither will I. We agree on this, Wally. We agree on this.
Well, I appreciate that, but that's not how I saw it. Again, I feel like I was just like the two of you are. I mean, you guys, we all talk back to our parents. We all we're not nice to our parents at some point because they're our parents. We borderline hate them and only love them around the holidays and our birthday, and only
Oh,
tolerate them because we have to live with them. But uh, if our parents would send us off somewhere, and we'd be taken care of, a lot of the times we'd choose that because we didn't know any better, and
Hey,
then
I
we'd make
know,
a
not for
decision to
me.
come back.
I
I
know
never
we're
felt that
recording.
way.
I know we're recording, but here's one thing. Work on I statements. I agree with you, Nate. I feel the same way about my parents that you do. I think Wally adores his mom. Am I incorrect, Wally?
No, yeah, that's what I said. It's hard for me to generalize that because I have amazing parents. I have four amazing parents. I've been
Yes.
Yeah,
blessed
you
to have all
do.
four. I'm very
Absolutely.
lucky. They're active in all of my children's life. I can understand why you feel that way. I do not share that. I have amazing parents.
And and Wally, and the one thing I love about you, you've recognized since you were little how fortunate you are to have
Well,
that.
I don't. And in fairness, like I not only do I recognize it, I try to pay it back. I feel like as I've grown older, I'm not trying to toot my own horn here, but it's going to come out
Yeah.
as such. But I've tried to be a really good son to both
Mhm.
sets of parents. I live in the area. I help them out prolifically. I'm here. I have great relationships with all of them. My kids have great relationships with all of them. They love all four of them immensely. They love all four of my kids. Like it's a reciprocal relationship. But I feel like as I've gotten older, I've gotten better at reciprocating my thanks, whether that be like trips. I take them on vacations. I take them to. We give a we take a turn. Like her parents, each one of my parents on a 3 year rotation. We give them
Yeah,
a Christmas gift of a vacation away. So like one year will be my mother, the next year will be my father, the next year will be her parents, and we'll
I
circle
love
back.
that.
It's been a great tradition, and it's a fantastic tradition. We do things like that on a fairly regular basis. In my attempt, as well as like the real benefit is the day to day stuff. Like I
Yeah.
live near my parents, so I'm able to stop by to help them fill out a form or help them with an
Yep.
IT question here or there. Those day to day stuff that like is a drain on my schedule, but I feel good about it. Like it's trying to fill that cup. It makes me feel good about it too. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yes, of course. That's amazing. It's
Yeah,
amazing.
I can definitely see you doing all of those things for sure. And yes, your mom
It's
and
not enough. It's
all
not
of your
enough.
parents, all of your parents are amazing. Like all four of
Yeah.
them. So, great human beings up there. And there's a few other
I'm
ones
very
up there
lucky.
in New Hampshire as well. Some good people up there.
I agree. I agree.
All right, so let's get right into we'll transition to the last week in the NFL.
Man.
So
Oh
there's a few
man.
things. There's a few things that I wanted to talk about, not centric on the Patriots. Just my reactions to, and I wanted to get your reaction. The first thing was Andy Dalton replacing the number one overall pick, and let's be real. All right, he as of right now, he is the only quarterback to throw 300 yards and throw for three touchdowns in the league on the first week that he starts. I don't know. I don't think that's something that can be sustained for him or for the Carolina Panthers. But I mean, having that kind of production in a week where he takes over for the number one pick, like, what do we think? One about that, and then how? What do they do with Bryce Young, and is he done? Like, is that
He's
something that?
done. Yeah. I think he's done. I think that like those kind of numbers out of Andy Dalton. I've always been an Andy Dalton fan, by the way. Like I feel like he's put in some legitimate years in this league. Now, granted, he's had some good wide receivers. Um, but Bryce Young, I think he's too talented, and his college years were too good for him not to get another opportunity. Some team will take a flyer on him. They'd be foolish not to. He's a generational talent in terms of athletic ability. So I don't necessarily think he's done. I think he'll have another chance. The Panthers are a dumpster fire. Um, but Andy Dalton stepping in and putting up those numbers kind of doesn't bode well for Bryce Young, right? Like it's not like if he stepped in and faltered, you'd think, okay, well maybe Bryce Young was just a bad system. He stepped in and flourished, like he was dominant. So then you're like, well, why couldn't he do that, right? That's a natural transition, a natural question. But having said all that, I still think he's too good and was too good in college for him not to get an opportunity somewhere on some roster at some point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I look at patterns, right? Pattern. Trey Lance. I think Bryce Young is on the Trey Lance trajectory where you go, okay, super amazing. Get him on a team, like put Bryce Young. I don't know. Someone give me a quarterback that's similar to him, but way better. And then he'll be
Bryce
that guy.
Young?
What's that?
How
Yeah.
about Vince Young?
No, Bryce Young.
How about Vince Young? I'm giving you a quarterback.
Yeah,
that's
there you go.
That's a quarterback I'm giving you.
There you go. I think he probably ends up doing that because I think mentally he's done. And this is what I wish the NFL did a better job at. Andy Dalton couldn't wait to get in there. I guarantee you, in the locker room or like with the coaches, he's like, Coach, I'm telling you, I can go out there. I understand what you're trying to do, and I can do it. And the coach finally was like, you know what? My job's on the line. And I can't get this young quarterback to do whatever it is that I need him to do. So try it. That's what I think happened. And Andy Dalton, good for him. Bryce Young, I think he's on the, he'll be like Trey Lance in like 3 years. I think.
And I'm gonna disagree with you on the Trey Lance.
All right, let's go.
Not necessarily the comparison, but definitely Trey Lance had the world handed to him, as we see it now in San Francisco. Like that system, if we want to call, Jimmy Garoppolo, if we want to call Garoppolo and Brock Purdy, and who filled in for Brock Purdy before that, like if we want to call them all, even Sam Darnold at one point filled in there, and they all thrived in that system. So I do think that is a very much, I won't say they're all system quarterbacks. They were all very receptive to the coaching that was put forth in front of them, and they worked hard at their craft, and they enjoyed it or didn't enjoy it, but enjoyed the production that they received from that coaching and the tutelage that they got and the mentorship and all that stuff. I think that is just one of many opportunities that can be presented to a professional athlete. Does a professional athlete have to, go through a bunch of different multiple situations in order to understand that? I would probably say so, because I think, or I hope, my hope is that if they move on from Bryce Young, that he turns into another product like Sam Darnold, where somebody who had to bump around, had to go to a situation that was right for him, got some good coaching, got some good tutelage and mentorship, and then produced when he needed to produce. And now he's in Minnesota. He's seeing the fruits of his labor. I mean, he's undefeated in his division, and they have a big division game this weekend. But I don't want to give up on Bryce Young. I think that system and that organization probably not a good fit for him. And again, it begs the question of, we just drafted a quarterback. Do we have, think of the things that I think about is who's the offensive coordinator, right? Like, because if Trey Lance or the Pastronaut, was his name Joshua Dobbs, that went up there in Minnesota, played, was traded, and in the same week played last year and won the game because of the game plan.
I can't think of his name, but I know who you're talking about. Yeah.
It's Joshua Dobbs. They nicknamed him the Pastronaut because he was going to be a rocket scientist, or he is. I don't know if he graduated, but he's a very smart individual. And anyway, he was thrown into that situation, traded, and then that scheme that they put together, all the offensive minds on that in that organization put a game plan together that was successful for him and the team. And that begs the question, who is our offensive coordinator with the Patriots? What is their experience level? And that, they're not legendary or productive or good until they are. And have we made the right choice? Because even with the personnel on the field now, Like we're not even. It doesn't feel like we're making adjustments in game to be productive and to stay on the field so that the defense can rest. So I
Wait,
also wonder.
I think it's worse than that, Nate. Did you see how onto our snap counts they were? They knew what we
Oh
were
yeah.
running better than our defense did, and I blame that entirely and solely on the offensive coordinator. That's play calling. That's nothing short of play calling. Now
they call
we'll see.
snaps
Right now,
cadence.
it's early on. Our personnel's not in place. Our offensive line is absolutely atrocious. So it's hard for me to judge it based on that. But I agree with you. And I didn't know we were morphing into the Patriots conversation. There are
Oh,
some
I didn't
significant
mean
there are
to.
some significant concerns.
Yeah, I didn't mean to, but I always compare it to that for sure. And like we
Mhm.
can go back to, the Mac Jones situation and how the greatest coach of all time
Yeah.
arguably jacked that up, like that whole situation without
Mac,
having a plan offensively, somebody experienced at the offensive coordinator position, which he's had throughout his career between
yeah,
Bill Callahan, Josh Daniels. Like he's had some stellar offense. So it makes me wonder why. And I really didn't want to go into the Patriots just yet, but it makes me wonder why, if he's seen that and he's seen what like what a uniquely gifted, smart, intelligent individual on the offensive coordinator position can do for your team,
yeah.
the talent that's on that side of the ball. Why do you again? That's one of those situations that I do think Mac Jones could potentially become something, be more than if it's another Andy Dalton, that's not a bad career to have. Yes, he
No,
was drafted. He was drafted
Mac
higher.
Jones is who we thought he was. He showed it again. Mac Jones is exactly who we thought he was. He's not an NFL quarterback.
I
He's
don't know.
overrated. He's not. I mean, he is exactly who we thought he was.
all right.
I mean that again. I think that he's talented enough to get some opportunities
You
awarded
got him.
to him and afforded to him at some point beyond this year. Like the quarterback that's playing in his offense on his team right now is not producing very well, and he is the second string quarterback. So at some point he'll see some snaps this year, but
We saw some snaps already.
not.
Get his ass whooped.
I'm not trying.
Whooped.
I'm not
He's a
trying. I'm
bum.
not trying to elevate Mac Jones and put him on a pedestal. I'm just saying that he is talented. He went to one of the best college programs that is out there in the nation, and he excelled in that program and that conference, the SEC. Like he has some talent, and again, I think he is like a lot of professional athletes. They need to find the right situation, the right system that just it almost
Fair enough.
emulates them. It's like
You know,
it's
you
like
know who did
it's
find
like
it, Nate? You know who did find it? Based on our agenda. Goddamn, Jaden Daniels looked great, huh?
yeah, he
So
did,
good.
man.
So
That
good.
that to go two straight
Great
games
transition.
without punting. To go two straight games without punting, again, that is a stat that you have to go back, 50 years. There's only three rookie quarterbacks that have done that in the last 50 years. And
Incredible.
kudos and give all credit to one him and then two the coaching staff because
Yeah,
I mean, and let's look at that coaching staff for a second. Again,
please.
you have a defensive minded coach, head coach, Dan Quinn. He's been to Super Bowls, arguably has not arguably, he has the worst loss in the Super Bowl ever as a
Yeah,
defensive
Yeah.
coordinator. But having said that, apparently he's a leader of men, a good leader on the field in the clubhouse, and he's got an offensive coordinator who was an offensive coordinator, built his chops up, was a head coach. He's an offensive guru. Arguably, he's an offensive guru. Cliff Kingsbury is a good offensive coordinator, and he's showing it. Whether it's almost not dumbed down, but simplified to accent Jaden Daniels, potential slash, his skill set, and then working around that and adding a small little piece each week or adding a small little piece each quarter that they play. And when the quarterback comes back and gives him feedback, he knows exactly what he's talking about because he's been in that situation because he played at a high level and he's coached at a high level. So they can communicate. There's two-way communication there, not one way, like, oh, we shouldn't have punted there, or we should have done this, or we should have done that. And there's immediate feedback from both sides. But yeah, that's a very good situation for Jaden Daniels right now. And it's looking good for Washington. I don't know. What do you think, Wally?
Yeah, I also think that that was the quarterback we all wanted, right? I think we have tape with the three of us saying that was the guy each of us wanted. Um, so I think that
If we couldn't have Caleb, yeah, if we couldn't have Caleb, yes.
I think Caleb's in a better situation than he is, frankly, and is underperforming. He's got better receivers. I think he's got a more rounded offense. Like I feel like Caleb landed in a better situation than Jaden Daniels. And let's be honest, it's still we're still young. We're four games into their careers. Jaden Daniels has been far and away the best rookie quarterback in the NFL, right?
Yep.
And I don't even think it's debatable at this
Nope.
point. And nor do I think it's debatable that heading in blindly into the season that Caleb landed in the better situation of the two, right?
DJ
So
Moore.
I had higher expectations for Caleb Williams than I did for Jaden Daniels, just by virtue of the situation they landed in. And Jaden has outperformed Caleb.
Well, if I would look at that and define situation, I wouldn't use the word situation. I would use the word talent. Caleb Williams has a more talented roster.
They're synonyms. They're synonyms. They mean the same thing.
I disagree. I disagree because if you look at the three situations with the top three quarterbacks chosen, Drake May, Jaden Daniels, and Caleb Williams, all three of them have defensive coaches. Only one of them has a very experienced offensive coordinator, and that's Jaden Daniels. Like, if you look at the resumes of the offensive coordinators specifically, Jaden Daniels, head offensive coordinator, Cliff Kingsbury, has the best resume of those three. I couldn't even tell you who the offensive coordinator is for the New England Patriots. That doesn't mean that
he has been an offensive coordinator in the NFL before. This isn't his first crack at it. He hasn't called plays, but he's been an offensive coordinator.
What are you talking about? Patriots or no?
Well, then I'm talking about all three of those situations. The situation being defined as the player drafted and the head coach and offensive.
So your argument then is, and I don't think it's a leap for me to say this, your argument then is coaching is more important than talent. And I think at that level, talent trumps coaching. So I think Caleb Williams' situation is better personally because he has more talented players in skill positions than Jaden Daniels did in Washington. I mean, what they did with the wide receivers, I think was they drafted high. They had DJ Moore that had a great year last year, signing the guy from the Chargers. Who am I thinking? Stud from the Chargers.
Akers?
No.
Quentin Johnson?
Chicago signed that stud.
Oh, Keenan Allen.
Yeah, Keenan Allen. I mean,
he hasn't seen the field yet.
In a better position than Jaden Daniels. I don't feel like that's even a controversial hot take. I think talent trumps coaching.
I disagree in the NFL. I would agree in the NBA 100%. But the NFL is different. Like, you have to have – there's so much about scheme. The NBA has – you got two amazing players who don't listen to the coach. You're still going to win. But in the NFL, everything is about – you say hut. Everyone has to move at the same time. You don't, it's a penalty. You throw the ball, and the defense doesn't have the right scheme in place because the coach messed up and forgot to tell his one guy to go here or didn't discipline the right way. Like, I think coaching matters more in the NFL than any other sport.
So then explain to me what happened to the Patriots after Brady left.
Yeah, I think what happened after Brady was our best talent without question.
So talent trumps coaching?
Nope. I think that Brady gave Belichick exactly like the key piece he needed in the puzzle to work around it. Like Brady's amazing. He's the GOAT. Like I will never disrespect Brady. But I think Belichick was such a good coach that like he had everything in place. He had the right things in place twice for two dynasties, basically, right? He had the early 2000s and then he had the late 2000s. And it was because Brady was the talent. So talent matters. I'm not saying talent doesn't matter. It's huge. But in football, I think coaching for young talent especially matters way more than it matters in any other sport.
Belichick must be the best coach of all time. If his coaching is that good that he helped coach Brady to a Super Bowl with a different team, then holy shit. Let me tell you something. Hats off. I'm going to tip my cap to that man. Best coach of all time.
Let me tell you
No,
something.
Because it
I
feels
think
to me
You don't,
like,
you don't think you
statistically
don't
speaking, the
hey,
talent
hey,
trumps the coaching in that
oh,
situation.
you don't think Brady took a couple lessons Belichick taught him over the years to bring to Tampa Bay? Oh, and by the way, who was the tight end for Tampa Bay?
So go
Gronk.
to data.
By
Like,
who?
what's the data say? Who won without the other one? One got fired, one won a Super Bowl. Like, the data is there. Like, we have the numbers. Run the numbers, chat. Run the numbers.
I don't think that good coaching trumps talent or talent trumps coaching. I think what is needed, and especially again when we look at those three scenarios, the top three quarterbacks chosen, Drake May, uh, Jaden Daniels, and Caleb Williams. What we want as fans and those individuals need is a coach that will develop the talent
Yeah.
and not only develop the talent, but and it's not that head coach. I only said head coach just because those three scenarios are the same. They're all defensive coordinators, and who has the better offensive coordinator? But I would also argue that Washington has the better compilation of assets to develop the talent that's in the building for them, for their skill set, however that works. And it's not that the other two scenarios are not doing that. It's just maybe they haven't been clicking on all cylinders. They haven't, even though they've spent 4 or 5 months together, they're still not communicating efficiently. Like there's a lot of different variables to throw in there, especially when we're talking about a kid coming out of college, going from the alpha male, who they're still an alpha male, but at the program that they're at, and then now they're trying to adjust to everything from the speed on the field to how they're going to audible, what defenses are doing to them. It's just very, again, a lot of different variables thrown in there. But I'm just arguing that coaching is dependent, or the talent being developed is dependent on the coaching. And that's when you see a guy that was drafted high that doesn't do well in his first, second, or third stint with a different coaching conglomerate, and then they move on, and then all of a sudden everyone's saying, why did we doubt this guy's talent? Or I've been telling you since day one that he was talented, X Y and Z. Like I think that exists, and it's like anything in life, any different scenario that you might find. If you hire a personal trainer, like you might not want a male personal trainer telling you that you suck at things, because that's the way that they communicate it, right? Just like guys like us that coach, we tend to be harder on other males. We're not soft, and like when I say soft, we're not compassionate about if we as if we were to use the same scenario and coach like our daughters, our own children. Like we're gonna be a little bit more compassionate, a little bit more softer in our words, and use more positive reinforcement and encouragement, as opposed to, again, I think all of us went through it, coach telling you suck at this, but never actually telling you what the hell you need to do to fix it. It's just the verbal iteration of like, you suck, and then not actually telling us how to fix it, but just go out there and try harder. Like, and we dealt with that. But again, I'm saying that the talent development is dependent on the coaching and the coaching staff that they surround these players with.
So you feel they go hand in hand. You can't separate one from the other, right? They got to be part and parcel of the same issue. The coaching can't do it without the talent. The talent can't do it without the coaching.
Yeah. I agree. Yeah,
Tough to argue that.
absolutely.
I mean, it's tough to say anything against that. I think you're 100% correct.
Yeah.
But for the sake of argument, again, I was trying to, if we had to go like 51-49, which way direction, that's where I was coming from. But in an ideal world, you're 100% correct. You can't separate the two; they go hand in hand.
They do.
You can You will not win in the NFL. You will not win significantly in the NFL without both. Frankly,
And we were lucky for, gosh, 20 years
so
to have
lucky, so lucky.
Yeah, yes. Again, I would not say that. I would say that when Brady left, Bill Belichick lost the best asset that he had on the field because he
without,
was a
question.
coach, offensive coordinator, head coach on the field, and he was like we've heard Teddy Bruschi talk about it. Like a lot of the players would say that they didn't play for Bill Belichick. They played for each other, but that was also because the veterans were there and
Mhm.
they were reiterating what the message that Bill Belichick was sending and like holding people accountable, all that stuff. So yes, it definitely it takes both, but the
And if
player
you're Bill
development.
Belichick, right? If you're Bill Belichick, tell me you don't want to try. The man somewhere deep down must know he lost because he's dating a 20-year-old. But like, you have to try. You have to try to be like, was it me? Was it? He knows it's not him. He understands that now. But you got to keep going and try. Like my method. That's what worked, right? It wasn't that I got lucky with Brady. It was my method. Everyone has to try that. All men have to try that.
Yeah, for
Yeah,
sure.
I mean, yes, yeah, because Brady wasn't Brady in those first three Super Bowls. I mean, that was
It's not.
Belichick, his defense.
Yep.
The Giants Super Bowls in the '80s, that was Bill Belichick. So he's not without cause, right? I
Yep.
mean, legitimately throughout the entire dynasty, we had a dominant defense. That's not arguable. Nor is the fact that he was the biggest voice on that defense
Yep.
consistently throughout. He knew how to draft secondary. He knew how to draft defensive linemen and linebackers. Like he did really well defensively.
No.
So
Can you
yeah,
argue
he is the greatest coach of all time, and
without question?
he is the one of the pillars of the Patriots, one of the main pillars, one of the two main pillars of the Patriots dynasty.
He's a statue. The two of them should have statues next to each other. Period. Done deal. Number one. That should be it.
Yep.
Man, are those new glasses? Did you get new
They
glasses?
are.
They look
They
good.
are,
They
yes,
do
they're
look
very,
Sharp, dude.
very
Sharp.
fashionable.
good. Very
I was
good.
gonna wait. I was gonna wait till we had a break to like change them out though. See which ones are more regal.
This is the great about
Boo.
not going about.
Boo.
Oh, I don't know. I don't know.
I don't know. I kind of like those. Those are my diehards.
Yay!
Just
Yay!
different. Yay! So moving on, the next topic I wanted to discuss because anytime you talk about the Cowboys or the Yankees, it usually gets you lots of likes and lots of subscribes and clicks and all that. But they are a trending topic. So the Cowboys, they're stuttering moving into the season. They kind of tend to do this sometimes. They sputter just a little bit coming out of the gate, but they do have, they just invested a whole bunch of money in the last month in their offense. Now, here's the thing. If they had finished these contracts prior to free agency or in the offseason, they would have, like right now, the contracts as they stand, they saved $20 million. Do you think that they could use right now, if you watched any parts of the game, like they could use that $20 million for another running back or another tight end or another offensive lineman? Like that money that they saved, it could have been well spent, and they waited till the last minute and saved that money, and now they can't do anything with it until next year, and it just doesn't make any sense to me. You knew you were going to come to this point. You knew you were going to sign him. Otherwise, you should have just stopped negotiating, and you signed them, which is the right thing to do. And then you save that money, and you don't get to use it until next year. It's kind of like we compare it to the Patriots. we're saving $40 million as in that's what we have for cap space. But wouldn't our offense and our defense look better if we spent that $40 million on some free agents or talent to put in front of our quarterback that's continuously on his backside?
Oh, well, that's especially so with the Cowboys because they're right there, right? They're right on the precipice of being a dominant team or being a Super Bowl contending team. So it makes zero sense. It makes zero for the Patriots. I can understand like if you don't feel like if you're not ready to compete and you're still in the draft pick mode, then I can understand having $40 to $50 million in your cap because why bring a guy in that you know what I mean? It just I can understand that. That's not the case with the Cowboys. They are one of the better teams in this league. To not spend right up to every dollar you can, especially when you're the richest franchise in the NFL, it doesn't make sense on any level.
It doesn't. And Nate, I thought you were going in a different direction, which I would say sign your guys earlier so they show up to training camp. They understand how to work as a team. When it comes to football, you have to be symbiotic. We have to stop ignoring this fact. People holding out from training camp, all that shit, it affects your season. So if Jerry Jones is serious, like I'm gonna go in, I'm all in. That's what he said, right? We're not holding. You sign your motherfucking guys early enough so they can all work together because they're going up against some bad motherfuckers on the other side of the field, and you got to get together and have your shit right. And he is not doing that. So I don't believe him at all when he says they're going all in.
Again, this is the richest franchise in football.
Right.
They are the most valuable franchise in football.
Get your guys in the second the draft is over. Figure out your team. Get your guys together. Pay them their fucking money, whatever it is, because you're richer than God, and put it together, right?
And get Jerry Jones the fuck out of football operations.
Yes, absolutely.
Enough's enough.
Move him out.
Get him out of football operations. Let him sit in the owner's box and be an owner, and let other people who are not senile make the football decisions.
I agree.
I wish him the best, but come on, right? Am I wrong here, Nate? You're a guy.
No. He's the Joe Biden of NFL owners. Like, he should not be as involved as he is. Like, by involved, I mean, again, I understand his logic and thinking around it. I mean, he's built an empire. Like, there's no reason for him not to be involved in, like, Twitter. He's not going to sit and twiddle his thumbs, but he's thinking about the next best thing, and, like, he can do that and allow his son to do exactly. Like, I feel like he's got to come to reality and, like, let's do a smooth transition and, like, let's let Stephen Jones come in and do these pressers at the end of games, so that I can go home and go to bed early, because that's probably what I need more than anything.
He needs to go to my assisted living facility that I'm on the board for. He needs to go live there.
But yeah, he's definitely he just does a lot of talking, and he doesn't need to. I do like the fact that what Dak said about this was a few weeks ago when they were still talking about his contract, and he was like, the reporter asked him, "Oh, did you hear the last thing that Jerry Jones said in his presser about your contract situation?" And he's like, "No, I really don't pay attention to anything he says anymore." Like, which is, I think it's really cool. I think it's really cool that they have that relationship, that he can say that, because I think that Jerry Jones understands he doesn't listen to his press conference, but ultimately he is an employer who listens to him. So it's good that they differentiate between them. But to me, he is the Joe Biden of NFL owners. Like, he can still be around, but he needs to do some sort of transition. Let Steven take over a lot of the pressers, a lot of the stuff where he does face to face. And I hope that when it is Stephen Jones's organization to run, he doesn't do that presser after the game. It's so, I'd say it does more damage than anything to the organization. Like, because the owner doesn't play, the owner doesn't coach. It does you no good to sit up there and say what you want and how we should do it and all this stuff. Let the coaches coach. Let the owner handle the paychecks. You know, obviously, you should have a say in the groceries that the coach wants to buy.
Oh, Parcells.
Yeah, but I mean, and that's flipped, right? He wanted to have a say. He felt like the owner was saying too much, and like he didn't have a choice. But I think the coach has free reign because Jerry Jones has deep pockets. But like again, you guys have your conversations. Don't do it through media elements and personnel and your little presser. Just I don't know. It's annoying at times. I could
Yeah,
not.
well, I mean, it speaks to
I
Jerry Jones, right? Jerry Jones has always been one of those guys that wants the spotlight on him, right? He bought the Cowboys. He owns it. He has every right to sit in front of the camera. It's my team. I am responsible for the 7, 8, 9 billion-dollar valuation. Like this is me, and he's been made no bones about it. And I guess if you're a Jerry Jones and you built this empire, you have every right to do that. I don't disagree with that. But again, I would just say he can continue to do that. Just get him the fuck away from football operations. It's like don't let him make calls about your safeties or the quarterback you're drafting or all that. He can still be having his press conference. He can still be sitting up in front of that. Just don't let him sit in the war room deciding who you're drafting in the first round next year.
But who's going to not let him do
That's
that?
what his son's got to tell him that. His family's got to tell him that. The people that are closest to him have to tell him that. And they may risk him saying, fuck you, you're out. But somebody's got to tell him that. This is why the Cowboys aren't relevant and haven't been relevant in quite some time.
The question, Wally, and this is a legitimate question. Would you risk it if you're his son? Would you be like, I could be out by telling him to it's time to go?
So there's pieces and puzzles to this because I think we're kind of dancing around the thing. Like, is he embarrassing himself? Is he jeopardizing his legacy? And as his son, I would never want my father to. I would never want people making fun of my father. I wouldn't want people.
I agree.
I wouldn't want him putting himself out there. And if it meant, if I felt like saving face and I would jeopardize our relationship in the short run, in the hopes of like saving his legacy or his, you know what I mean? Then yes, I probably would.
That's a super emotional.
But I would do it. It would be consensus. I would talk to the other people. I would talk to my sisters. I would talk to my it would be a consensus thing. If I had to step up and bite the bullet, then so be it. I would.
All right, fair. Thank you. That's a great answer.
Yeah, I think I don't want to mince your words, but I think when you say they're not relevant, like I think you mean they're not a serious contender for a Super Bowl.
That's what I mean. That's
they're
exactly
absolutely they're absolutely relevant. Like every day, every day there's a topic that's trending about the Cowboys, and that's the empire that he's built. That is his influence on the spectrum of news media, sports media. Like it's just
when I say relevant, I mean winning. I mean they're not relevant to a Super Bowl championship.
Like the Patriots are not relevant right now for a Super Bowl championship, but oh my goodness. During the whole dynasty the Patriots had, everyone was psyched about the Dallas Cowboys, whether they sucked or they didn't. Everyone loved that. Like we've now put ourselves in that conversation, although man, we went down faster than the Cowboys, didn't we?
The Cowboys have been bad for 20 years. The Cowboys have been bad for 30 years.
But the Cowboys still have like national media attention no matter what. And the Patriots, I watch NFL Live every day. I'm a football nerd. I'm a football nerd. I watch NFL Live. I watch Good Morning Football when I get up in the morning and do my workouts. The Patriots are nothing. And the Dallas Cowboys still get tons of, and they always have. Even when the Patriots had their dynasty, the Cowboys still got tons of coverage. I don't understand that, and maybe I should understand.
Well, part of me wonders if, like, I feel like there was a lot more Patriots hatred than there was Cowboys hatred. Like, I feel like it was personal. We were attacked. We had the controversies, the manufactured controversies.
Yeah.
That people still are saying this is why they don't take us seriously as a dynasty. So I think that's a piece of it.
Sure.
Um,
Yep. Yep.
and
Well, I mean,
people like
we're
shitting.
just
You know what? You know what's a great clickbait is anything anti-New England, like anti-Celtics, anti-Patriots, anti-Red Sox, gets us, the three of us, and our kin riled up, and we'll read any article on it. We'll be like, we'll click on somebody's link and read that shit because it's such a bullshit thing to do. This is a large part of the reason why Tatum is hated as much as he is, because it drives clicks. It gets us angry and it gets us reading the articles so that we can be like, these motherfuckers. And this is what's happening with the Patriots. It's good for business to be anti-Patriot.
yeah. I mean,
Hold on.
again, before Thursday's game, the Patriots and the Cowboys had the same record. So, I mean, but
Exactly.
on the
Exactly right.
spectrum of relevance, they're definitely on. The Cowboys are far right isn't very relevant, and the Patriots are very left of that spectrum and not relevant because of the situation that we find ourselves in, and that, in all honesty, for me, I'm good with that because like if we're at the bottom, there's nowhere to go but up from here. And again, we've
Fair enough.
talked about it. We've talked about how I feel about the coaching staff and the team in general. Like we're it's a prove it year for everybody and a learning process for everybody this year. Like it won't we're not going to see leaps and bounds improvement on in wins and losses. We'll see leaps and bounds improvement week to week. And that also goes back to, again, the mindset of Bill Belichick. Like week to week, we're improving. Week to week, we're improving. We're on to the next one. We're on to the next one. And I think that's Jared Mayo's mentality. And I think he does it. He does it his own way, but he still emulates as much as the coaching prowess that he grew up with in Bill Belichick. And I think
Yeah.
he'll be successful at some point. Maybe it's not even with the New England Patriots. Who knows? But
Before the next topic.
And we
before
haven't
the-
seen it yet. They haven't gotten better and better. They've gotten worse and worse every week.
That's true. That's true. Also, before the next topic, though, the Patriots had dynasty. To your point, Wally, everyone does think we cheated, right? Like instead of giving us credit for actually working hard, they think we cheated.
Yeah.
Nate, are we recording right now?
yeah,
To every other
absolutely.
every other NFL team.
Oh. Suck
Oh,
it.
That's all. Oh, I didn't. No, Nate,
No
I didn't
argument.
say that. I didn't say that. It was just a gesture, Nate.
That's right, but we all know what it is. Yeah, I, I know we haven't improved. Just to clarify on your point, Wally, we have gotten worse in the wins and loss columns in our overall projection, but small. It's going to be small victories every week, and almost play-by-play victories on the
Yeah,
field.
no,
Like
that's
like
our
we're
only
not
hope to have.
we're not going to win all three downs, but if we win one of them, like hopefully the next time we win two of them, like the next
No,
time the offense is
that's
out there or the defense. That's just my mindset.
Yeah.
I'm like I'm
mine
not
too.
happy with it,
Where we're at right
but
now.
I'm not happy with it, but I've come to terms with it.
Well, listen, we have a weak team in San Francisco up next, so I'm certain we'll turn it around this week. This is gonna be
No,
this is
you
gonna
know
be
that's
the week we're really
bullshit.
gonna step into our own.
You know you're
Yeah.
with us. He's fucking with us.
Let's table that and take if we need to use the bathroom or
Let's take a time out. Yeah,
get
yeah,
a
stop
drink.
recording for a second.
Before we go, Wally, I appreciate you fucking with us.
What do you mean? I'm not sure what you're talking about.
Oh, we got a weak San Francisco team. A weak San Francisco team. Yeah, great.
They're missing their best running back.
They are, and they're
I would love their
they're missing
second-
more than that.
I would love the second string running back on our team.
Yeah.
Jordan Mason.
Stop recording for a second.
I don't know if I stop and start.
gotta
I
be
don't know
chat.
how that's.
You got to stop recording.
No, I'm the one that's
Are
recording.
you?
Oh, I can.
Hit record. Fine. So theater basically is the only people that care about.
We're recording. We're
Yeah,
recording.
no, I heard. I got you. The only people that care about theater are those who do theater. The people that go to Broadway, like you might get like a random group every now and then, a family. But the people that are really passionate about theater are watching each other do theater. That's it. It's a very small group. That's it. Like, I want to do theater. Oh my God, because I saw this person do theater. No one gives a shit. Nobody.
So I don't agree with that. I don't do theater, but I mean, I don't actually, but like in my head, I would enjoy going to theater. Like, I think I would. Like,
You what? You
I've
what?
been to. It's been a long time, but I wanted to go to a rent tour in the area, and they're up in New London. I wish I'd went. I didn't make it to it, but stuff like that, I would enjoy
Oh,
doing.
wait. Rewind. Why didn't you make it to rent? Because it was not a priority? Because of why?
No, because I've got football practice, and I've got
Two
field
kids,
hockey
two
practice,
kids,
and
a
I've
wife,
got
a dog.
Because it's
I've
real
got
life.
karate and dance, and like that's why I couldn't make it. I just couldn't
So
make it.
going to rent and hearing a bunch of people singing about bullshit that's not real didn't work for you?
It didn't fit into my schedule. Like that's a
Exactly.
leisure thing for me, and as an adult and as a
Uh-huh.
father, like my leisure time is what gets cut first because I'm a man.
I couldn't
And
agree more.
and as a man, sometimes you've got to make sacrifices for the betterment of your family. And some of the sacrifices I make are instead of going to theater shows, I go to soccer practice, or I go to
Uh-huh.
field hockey games, or I
Yeah.
go to karate practice.
Yep.
Because I'm a man. Come at me. I'm a man. Who said that name? Was the name of that coach? Remember that? Remember that?
Mike Gundy, Oklahoma State. I'm a man. I'm
I'm
a
a
40.
man. Come at me.
I mean,
But yeah,
that guy
we
can
all make
take the show.
sacrifices. That's parenting 101. Being there.
Mhm.
That's all you need to do. Is just be there. Good for you.
Agreed. Agreed.
Sacrifices, daily sacrifices.
I feel like I was being attacked there.
Say
Wally, by
what?
the way,
My manhood was
Wally,
being
by the
questioned.
way, just a real
Oh
question
no.
before we go on to the next thing. Were you super sad you couldn't go to rent?
No, I moved fast and quick. I was upset because it was in close proximity and would have been easy to drive, but I moved fast and quick.
Yep. Yep. Got it. Thank you.
All right, so our
I
next
think that's a function
topic.
as an adult and as a male, like there's frequent disappointment. Like you often have to sacrifice and all right, well, I don't get to do this thing I wanted to do. That's daily. That's a daily occurrence in my life. Like I want to do this, but instead I'm going to do this because I'm responsible. Blah blah blah.
You
It's overrated. But what
It's
isn't
overrated.
overrated? What isn't overrated is this next game that the Patriots have, and for
Oh,
our next segment,
go.
I'm gonna let our on-field correspondent from Section 338 in Gillette Stadium take over and start us off with a review slash preview of this next game that we got coming up in it's not Candlestick. I don't Levi Stadium, and it's also prime time. Well, I should say prime. Shouldn't say prime time, but it's
4
in
o'clock.
the evening, 4 o'clock for you guys, 3:15 for me. So, and I think it might actually be on cable TV out here. Like, but go ahead, Chet.
I can
Give
tell
us
you
the
what, the
inside
Patriots
scoop.
fans are super disappointed because they were looking for Drake May, because Drake May would actually provide something to this team to give us hope and respect, maybe, that we may have a future in this league. What we saw last week was an abomination. Our defense is supposed to be the best thing that the Patriots have, and they let us down. And then our offense is exactly what we thought it should be. Now, in practices, I've read this. I've read everything. Drake May is killing it in practice. He is killing it. And they don't want to put him behind a terrible offensive line, which logically I kind of get. But if you want to go out there and win games, why don't you put someone like, Drake May in, someone who also resembles some other quarterbacks who can overcome an offensive line that sucks. We also have CD So coming back this week. So maybe there's a chance we put him in. Jacoby Brissett, that guy, respect all day long. He's taking a beating for this team. So no doubt. But we are literally the 32nd ranked pass offense in the entire league. Sorry. Well, you might know how many teams are in the NFL?
32.
Oh, thank you so much. So
He's
really,
good with numbers. He's so good with numbers. So
it's so
Yeah,
good. The
32.
32nd ranked.
That means they're last.
Oh, God, thank you for that. So I was at a game and I was watching them, and I'm seeing people open, and I'm not saying I'd be any better. Like I'm 45, I'm old, but I'm saying I'm watching, and I'm like, if I'm a young athlete in my prime, how do I not see that guy wide open or that guy wide open? That I think the wide receivers get a bad rap because I've saw them live in real time. I was like, they're getting open. They really are. So why not put the new guy in? If he gets injured, he gets injured. Like that. I mean that. My son got injured.
Okay.
Night.
You know the answer to this, though, Chad. The answer to this is because they don't want to. I mean, what's best case scenario? They're not beating San Francisco. They're still going to lose the majority of their games, even with him in there. So then, if you're talking about the difference between 3 wins and 6 wins, or 7 wins and 4 wins, you're talking about the difference between the third pick and the eighth pick, or the second pick and the sixth pick, which actually, in terms of building your team and being ready for the future, makes a demonstrative difference. This is the answer. This is the answer. That's why they don't play him, because they want a better draft pick. Because they're not going to win this year. They have 50. What do they have? How many millions of dollars do they have in cap space?
40 million.
$40 million in cap space. They are not trying to win. They do not want to win. The players want to win. The football operations folks do not. That's the answer, in my opinion.
I think you're right, and that's the only reason for what we're doing. But I want to win every game. I will never. Let me say this out loud. We're recording. I am an unbridled, ridiculous Patriots fan. All I want to do is win every game. Every game I watch, I'm hoping they win. Season ticket holder now, and all I want is every game for them to win. So I am unobjective. That said,
I'm not sure you can say that you're a season ticket holder and you want to see Drake May play and not say that you're not objective. Like I think that all season ticket holders want. I think that would do a lot of different things. Having Drake May on the field will, as you said, inspire and bring hope, but it could also do a few other things as well, like deteriorate the hope and the things that you might want to see. But I think that Wally is right, and Drake May should sit because, I mean, let's go down the list. Quarterbacks that benefited from sitting on the bench and watching and learning. Jordan Love is one of them, like huge. Yes, he sat behind Aaron Rodgers, who decimated our defense. I shouldn't say decimated. He wasn't surgical. He was efficient, and he was very skilled, very skilled at what he does, and it showed. Like, I don't think our defense was necessarily that bad. He was just that good. Like, that was a version of Aaron Rodgers that everyone on the New York Jets staff wants to see repeated over the course of the season. I don't think the defense let us down. They did. They underperformed, yes, but our offense, if anything, has underwhelmed and underperformed from the first snap. And we've discussed at length. I think I mean, again, in the text thread while we were watching the Thursday night game, I was the first one that said they're all over our snap count. Like, first possession of the game, first series, and they're all over our snap count. Like, so there was never an adjustment made. Like, again, there's things that you can do when you're an experienced coaching staff and an experienced offensive coordinator and an experienced quarterback to offset an aggressive defense. If they're constantly running at you and moving forward, there's things that you can do that make them at least have to take a step back before they start pursuing and give you that extra split second schematic wise, count wise, everything. There's a lot of different things that you can do, but for us not to make those adjustments, especially in that game before it was out of hand, like then again we got to see some of the hope in Drake May, but I don't. His place isn't on the field with the talent that they have, because I agree with you that the wide receivers are getting open, but he's going to be as inefficient. He'll show flashes of brilliance, and I think we'll see some growth, but he'll be just as inefficient as Jacoby Brissett, and he'll get his ass
He'll be running
handed to
for his
him.
life. He'll be running for his life from giant men who are sprinting at him unimpeded because this offensive line is terrible.
But he is a giant man.
Not big enough. He's not big enough.
Yeah.
Not yet.
Well, I don't. The thing is I don't want him to have to be big enough and tough
I agree.
enough to handle that. Like
I
let's
agree.
let's wait. And again, I would almost say product wise, I don't think that we should have spent the $40 million that we have in cap space on like the best left tackle and the best right tackle. But go out there and get some younger talent, younger free agents,
Starters.
and yeah, that are durable, that are mid tier. That would be an upgrade. That would give us a chance. And like, it just looks like the product that's on the field, specifically the offensive line. It just looks like the I know the coaches are coaching them up, like that's what they get paid to do. But it just looks like they're overwhelmed, under talented, and I don't think it's going to be a bloodbath against San Francisco, because I always hold out hope. I want to see a good product on the field, but with that defense and the talent that they have on that defense, it's going to be a rough day for that offensive group if they don't make adjustments. And again, when we watch the Jets game, we're a run first offense. Let's build the offense through and our momentum through the running game. It doesn't matter if it's Ramondre or Gibson. It doesn't matter. Just why deviate from that? I'm not saying you run it three times and go for it on fourth down every time, but let's get some chunk yardage or small steps on first and second and have a manageable third down. Like, that's not they're all professionals out there. Like, that's not something new. But did you have a follow-on comment there, Chet or Wally?
I did. But Wally, go ahead. Do you have one?
No, I mean, I think you very eloquently said exactly what I said before you, that we have to make tweaks, that he has no business playing yet until we can make our roster better. I understand Chet's perspective of wanting him to get NFL experience. We don't want him to get hurt, and we need starters on the offensive line. They may gel together, they may get better. Hopefully they will. But until that happens, I don't want to be 6 wins versus 4 wins. Like, that is not better for us. Like, I understand that it's better for us to have a better draft pick at this point and draft the premier left tackle and have him under control for 5 or 6 years at least. That's what's best for us. I think that anything short of that is where we're sacrificing long-term benefit for short-term pleasure. Like, yeah, can we squeak out a win against the Dolphins? Maybe, but why? Like, we're not making the playoffs. We're not winning the Super Bowl. Let's get better players as quickly as we can, and that's the best way to do it is through the draft.
Fair enough. People were to say the same thing 2001, and I know we don't have Tom Brady, but Wally, remember you watching the varsity team? Nate, you watching the varsity team? You were better than them, and you knew it. And you couldn't wait for your opportunity. What'd you do, Wally, with your opportunity? You fucking nailed it. So my point is, athletes are athletes, and like all they want to do is get in there. And sometimes when they get their shot, they take it. There's also examples of athletes who get in there and they fuck it up. I get that. And I understand that's why they're trying to hold back, but like, I
Yeah.
really think Drake May, based on what I've seen so far, he's a game day guy. He's ready to go. Having a hard time
Now,
not
I
playing him.
think I hear what you're saying, and you're 100% correct. Like, but you at this level, there's two types of decision making. There's football decisions and there's business decisions.
Sure.
This is not just a football decision. It can't be. You'd be foolish to make solely football decisions at an NFL level. You need to make business
Oh!
decisions because it's a business. And the business decision here is clear. You've got to do what's best for the business, not necessarily what's best for
So,
this
so
year's
walk me through
football
it.
team.
Walk me through. Start. What's the end goal? Help me understand.
The end goal is to win Super Bowls. And sometimes to take a step forward, you need to take a step back. That's just factual. It doesn't do you any good to be a eighth seed, a ninth seed perpetually, because like you
Fair.
got an underperforming team striving to do their best. You want to be the third, the second, the first seed, and you need talent to do that. So you may need to take a step back, take a step forward.
So
Yeah,
the end of the Super Bowl, I understand that. So what's the plan? Like how many years?
So I mean, it's dependent on how well you draft. You can do it in 1 year. If you get the right quarterback, if you get the right
Right, you can do it in
quarterback,
1
you can
year.
build around.
Yep.
You can build that out relatively quickly because talent draws talent. If you have proven ability, people have flocked to that. They want to play with a legitimate quarterback.
I agree, which is why everyone wants to come play with Jacoby Brissett. Everyone would love that.
well,
No.
again, there's
Listen to me.
You got to take a step back. You got to take a step back before you take a step forward.
Fair. That's fair.
it is also one of those things like, it's the part of me that is the instant coffee era wants to see the guy on the field to build hope for what we're building. Because I'd rather know that he has it or he doesn't. He's tough enough or he isn't. I don't want him to have to go through growing pains, but I like to see him experience that. And if we're perpetually saying he shouldn't get on the field and you know he this team around him isn't ready for him to develop into the quarterback that he hopefully becomes, like, then I mean, again, we're putting off that building momentum part, right? Yes, we put it on hold this year, we get a better draft pick next year, we see what he has next year, and we use that $40 million in cap space to go out and get some veteran talent as well as some young talent in the draft. But it's, I don't know, I see both sides of it. Like, I want to see the kid go out there and take his lumps because that will build character. That will show us that he's going to, when he's knocked down, he's going to get back up. He's going to handle some adversity. It's not the first time I don't want to see that, the first time that he faces a division opponent when everyone in the organization agrees that he's ready to do that. Like, I'd rather see him not thrust into that, but I want to see his mettle tested. Like,
I agree.
not
I
wait.
think that's a week 10. I think that's week 9, 10, 11, not week 3, 4, 5.
Thank you,
I'll
Wally.
honestly.
Actually, what do we think? What do we think? Actually, the three of us. What do we think?
If I'm being honest, I think it's before that, and it's as soon as Jacoby Brissett is injured, which won't be very long. Like,
it won't be very long.
It could be this Sunday. It could be this Sunday. All it takes is him getting concussed, and Drake May is the number 2. All it takes is him getting concussed. He doesn't have to have a broken bone or be out for the year. He just gets concussed because he gets taken to the ground hard. Like,
and the law of averages suggests it's going to be very soon.
Yes.
So many hard hits a game.
I love Jacoby Brissett. I really do. I really don't want to see that be the reason why Drake May goes in. What I would much rather is a calculated response to, like, what's going on. This rookie gives us a chance. That's what I.
What week? What week are you talking, Chet?
What's that?
What week?
So I'm thinking
Well, are we talking about him becoming the starter and taking
I'm talking
over,
him
or
starting.
just a starting week that he's starting?
Officially, not because of a reaction, but like officially becoming a starter. I'm thinking November 17th.
What week is that?
November 17th.
8 or 9, I think, and it's against Chargers or Rams, something like that.
No,
In my
it's the
mind,
Rams. Should be the Rams
We're
because the
going
Chargers
into
was
week.
second last week.
We're
What's
going into week
October-
4.
That's week 10. Actually, 13 through 19 is week 11. And that is the Rams. You're right, Chet.
yeah, the Rams. Okay, so I'm thinking that week is the week because by then we know who we are, right? We know
So
who
that's
we
week
are.
11.
Yeah,
Week 11.
yeah.
Week
Nate, what do you think?
12. Week 12 is when we have a bye.
Yeah.
I think
I think week 13. I think he's coming out of the bye. I think coming out of the bye, we're going to be
I like it.
2 and 12, 2 and 11, 3 and 10, something like that coming out of the bye, and they're going to say, all right, he's coming in. We're going to give him 2 weeks, get him up to date. He's the starter from here on out.
I think that's when they will declare him as the starter for sure during the bye week. But I think he'll start before then due to injury. But it'll be given back to Jacoby before that bye week. You know, I don't want to put a timetable on it because I don't want to. I agree with you, Wally. I think definitely coming out of the bye, we'll hand the reins over, even if we have no more wins and we're 1-12 at that point, 1-11. But yeah, I think he'll start before then due to injury. But give the reins back to Jacoby once Jacoby's healthy.
I hate this week because everyone's like, "Oh yeah, we caught San Francisco at the right time. They're injured."
Yeah,
They're
I
mad.
disagree with that.
They're so mad and they're agitated and they're ready to go. Like I don't love it. I don't love it. We better.
Go ahead.
That was it. That's all I had.
They're so talented. Like again, and their coaching staff is just very experienced as well. I won't say they're better than ours. They're just more experienced, and they have enough talent around them to execute and end up going. I think it'll probably be very much like our defense will probably give up 24 points like we did last week, but
Yep.
and hopefully we
That
score
was
more
happening.
than 3 points. Hopefully it's 24-10.
Right. That sucks. Today I saw this thing at the end of the agenda about the military. What do you got there?
We were just talking about that when you went up went.
You did? Oh,
bathroom.
I'm sorry.
Yep.
I'm sorry. I missed it.
Or do we want to make a prediction on the Patriots then? I think we all think we don't have a chance, but I say 24-10 49ers. I hope we score 10 points. The 7 points might come from our defense.
That's bold. I think 36-3.
36.
Oh my goodness! You think 36-3?
Because
I
if
think
they're
that's
gonna
one of the
be- if
games
they're-
where the
If
Patriots.
these motherfuckers are going to be that stubborn and not put Drake May in, that's what they get. 36-3.
I think this is one of the games where the Patriots actually play well, and I don't think I think they hang around. I think they lose. Don't get me wrong, but I think they play well, and it's one of those trap games where San Francisco comes in thinking they're going to blow the Patriots out, and our defense keeps us in the game. Because I am worried about some of San Francisco's injuries, and I think our defense is going to continue to get better. I think, like Nate said this consistently, and rarely do I like to agree with Nate, but I agree with him in this case, in that I think the Patriots, if they can continue to morph into a ball control offense and run behind Ramondre Stevenson, that we may have a chance to stay competitive in games like this, where it's going to be a 21-18 game or like a six, you know what I mean? A very low scoring tight game because we rely on our defense. So
What a weird conversation. I'm all about sticking up for the Patriots, and I'm the one who's like, we're going to get fucked this week.
We
And you
might,
two
and we
like
still probably will get fucked. This is me speaking optimistically, if I'm being honest with you. But that's what I hope to happen. That's what I'm envisioning happening. And if we do that, anything can happen. If we're within a touchdown in the fourth quarter, anything can happen.
I
And
never
we
want to be
can
wrong.
be within a touchdown in the fourth quarter if we are committed to running the ball.
Yeah,
As such, I'd like to morph into our betting segment whenever you guys are ready, because I got a Patriots bet.
go. Let's go.
Yeah, I'm ready. Let's get it. Waltz winners right
I'm
now.
ready right now. Let's go.
It was one of their pre-canned. It was one of their pre-canned bets, but I think that it's a long shot on it. It's a 4-leg parlay. Hold on a second. Oh man, it is a Patriot centric. What did I do? Where did it go? All right, it's right here. It's a 4-leg parlay. Ramondre Stevenson over 60 yards. Ramondre Stevenson scored a touchdown. Jacoby Brissett 150 plus passing yards, and the Patriots plus 10.5. Close game. I think that if we can do all those things, that we're within 10 and we lose by like a touchdown.
Yeah,
Do you
I
think
agree.
Jacoby Brissett has yet to throw for like barely over 100 yards, and he's going to do it against San Francisco?
Well, here's. I felt like with Pop Douglas, we made strides in our offensive game. He put together a nice game. If we can continue to develop that, do more dump offs, yeah, I don't think 150 yards is out of the question. We have to get better. We can't get any worse, Chet.
I know
Was it him
Trust me.
scoring a touchdown as
agree on
well?
that shit.
It's Ramondre scoring a touchdown.
Ramondre plus 60, 1 touchdown. JB throwing
I
for
had a whole bunch of
150.
picks.
And what was the fourth one? I thought you said it was a 4-leg.
It was Ramondre Stevenson over 60. Ramondre Stevenson anytime touchdown.
Touchdown.
Jacoby Brissett over 150, and then Patriots plus 10.5.
Yeah, I like that.
Meaning they can lose.
You like it?
Lose by 10 points and we still win. Yeah.
And if we bet $5 on that, that's $5 to win 40. I like it. I kind of like it. I want to root for the Patriots. And $5 is nothing. If we can put that in, and I think if we are able to achieve those metrics, we have a chance to be in the game.
Yeah.
Listen,
no, it's not unreasonable.
I'll go with it. I'm in.
Yeah,
Let's
I
go.
like it.
And Wally, to your point, like where you won me over just now, I want to root for the Patriots. Thank you.
I want to bet on the Patriots because I want to root
that.
for them. Like I don't want to have money against the Patriots.
So put 15 on that, 5 each, because
I just put 5 on it already, but I could put more on if you want me to.
Wally, by the way, where are we? Like plus minus at this point.
We are, and I've still got money in my Venmo that I transfer over. Right now, we are at. I just bet 5. We were at 175. We've been on a kind of a cold streak. We won one last this week. But we lost most of the others.
Oh man.
We've been betting more parlays. So parlay is if we put a little bit of money in a 4-leg parlay, we're going to win big. So we win 1, lose 4. That's a winning argument. But we're up. We're at 170. 170 is not bad.
No, it's not bad. But Nate asked us how we get better. I should pay more attention to the parlays. Like I see a text in the middle of the workday, I'm like, okay, go for it. What I will do now.
Did you open an account?
No, I just count on you.
Okay, good. But did you open your own account? Like, do you have your own account? Because I tried to convince you to do it because they had like a spend $5, get $250 to bet. So I tried to encourage you to do that. I'm just curious if you did. If you didn't, it's not a big deal. I'm just curious. Okay,
you should do it though.
If I find that deal again, I'm going to encourage you to do it because it's free money.
Free money. I like free money.
Yeah, you should.
Right.
$250.
David, I'm excited about your last topic. Let's go with it.
All right, so we're done talking Patriots and our pizza money. So we're going to transition to our global aspect and that
Psyched
is
about this one.
FPV drones. So I'm sure you guys have seen them in the news about how they're being utilized in the Ukraine war against Russia.
I
Both
have.
sides are using them. I mean, the United States we know that technology exists. We use drones on a daily basis, but they're UAVs and they're not. Yes, we have capabilities to fire missiles from them, but these are on a different level, man. Like
Yeah.
it's one of those things. It's like I can't remember the name of the movie, but it was like oh man, it was in the 80s, early 90s. Very bad technology existed then as far as cinematics and special effects, but it was basically an electronic thing that would hone in on a target and it would seek it and destroy it. Like whether it blew it up or like it in the movie, it seemed like people were dying, like being bludgeoned to death essentially, and dying in terrible ways. And I can't imagine the the battlefield and the aspect of worrying about a small unmanned aerial drone that is just looking for a heat signature and seeking it and destroying it. Like
Yeah.
that blows my mind. But I guess the question that I have is kind of twofold. Do we think that there needs to be some sort of, and it's not a Geneva Convention thing, but do we think that when it comes to warfare, as far as those aspects of the drones, like there needs to be an organization, or again, the United States needs to make a stand and say that we're not going to use these drones for these types of things, and also do we agree with how they're being used, and how would you feel if you were an employee at one of these establishments that build the drones, and then all of a sudden you have a military contract that now the drone that you use for recreation and you built for recreation is now being used to maim and destroy other human beings. Like,
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Yep.
So I'll take a crack at that. I think that it's a great question. It's also a very complex answer. I think that right. So here's the thing. If we can use those drones to prevent us from having to put boots on the ground and save American lives and putting themselves at jeopardy and take out truly evil people, then I think we owe it. Like we owe it to our country and our soldiers to not put them at risk. So I think a drone can be a valuable tool to that end. Here's the problem: evil and not evil is subjective, right? So then like it becomes a very gray area as far as like who do you kill and who do you not kill, like who's worthy of a assassination, who's not, and that is like that makes me uncomfortable because it's subjective and not concrete. Um, but I don't have anything. I don't see anything wrong with that. If we are saving American lives, whether that be from preventative terrorist attacks or in response to already happened terrorist attacks, that if we can use drones to take out enemy targets who are actively plotting to kill Americans or who have killed Americans, then use every tool at our disposal to do that. Especially if that tool is able, if we're able to use that tool without putting American lives at risk. I have no problem with that. Like I'm in full favor of it. I don't think there should be any qualifications for that. Now, as it pertains to your secondary question about the people working at these factories, I think if you're working for like Boeing or these larger corporations that or whoever's making these drones, I don't even know the name of the company, that you know full well what you're doing, like, and you know the applications. And I think that like as you continue to develop these, like, if you aren't aware that the government is going to use your invention to make it a military weapon, then your eyes aren't open. You don't know the world today. Like and if you're smart enough to, you know what I mean? It's such a contradiction. If you're smart enough to build that, you ought to be able to see the implications of said implement,
Now,
and that includes military applications. And if you don't know that, I don't know what to tell you. Like, like bury your head in the ground, in the sand.
You're talking like the Oppenheimer movie, like that was so good.
That was a good movie. It was a great movie.
Mhm.
It was so good.
Great movie.
And your question was, is it ethical to use it? And I guess my answer is no one else is going to think about ethics except for us.
Yeah.
So I don't love it. I don't ever want to kill someone. I don't ever want to be the reason someone else's life ends. I don't ever want to be that person, and like I'm responsible for that life ending. But to Wally's point, if it's Wally's kids or some other kid somewhere else, like it's us. It's us. It's a fucked up thing, but that's where I stand. And so if we're going to use these things, like, do you actually, Nate? Question for you: do you think it's more like you got to stand there, fight, figure it out like a gladiator, or do you like the technology, or what's your thought?
Man, I think there's an ethical boundary that is being, stepped over. In a sense, I agree with some of the ways that they're being employed on a battlefield. But what I disagree with is, the drone that is dropping thermite on a unit or elements that are inside a tree line that are just hunkered down for the
See
evening.
those videos.
I
That's
like
crazy.
I like the element of surprise, but I'd rather see them, use the drones that'll deploy a few missiles, in that area as opposed to dropping thermite as it moves up and down what it would call the front line right there, or the trench line that they have dug, because that, like, thermite burns at thousands of degrees and burns forever, and it's not just going to burn the individuals that it's dropping on. It's burning everything in, the fuel, it's burning through metal, it's burning and it's burning the environment as well. Like, I think there's an aspect that we need to consider as far as how is it, like, it's going to burn so hot, it's going to burn forever. It just doesn't, it doesn't just stop burning because the chemical reaction stops, right? So, I think there's an ethical.
There's been a massive trade in the NBA that just came down.
Really? Breaking news,
Wally.
Breaking news.
Let's go.
We'll come back.
I feel like it's breaking news right now that just came down. Massive trade in the NBA. Karl Anthony Towns has been traded from the Minnesota Timberwolves to the New York Knicks in exchange for Julius Randle, Dante DiVincenzo, and a first-round pick. That's coming from Detroit. Huge. This is huge. This is a huge trade.
That is. So who's New York giving up?
New York is giving up Julius Randle. Dante DiVincenzo, and a first-round pick that they have that's coming from Detroit, I believe, which is probably a pretty good first-round pick.
Wow, I would say Julius Randle has only played like 40 games in the last 3 years. So I think they're getting some youth and durability.
Cat on the Knicks, man, like that's exactly what they need now, especially with Mitchell. What's their center's name? Mitchell Robinson.
Yeah,
he's been injured a lot. I like him, but he's not Cat.
I'm gonna look at the Knicks rotation right now.
Wow.
Yeah, that's wow. Breaking news, Wally. I love it.
Wally, I love the breaking news. Nice work.
The New York Knicks. So I'll tell you the starting five right now.
Oh,
it's Jalen Brunson, Josh Hart, Mikal Bridges, OG Anunoby, and Karl Anthony Towns. That's a fucking good starting five. And I can't wait for the Celtics to beat them and shut those fuckers from New York right the fuck up. Because I still think we're the better team. That's a great starting five. And I still think we're the better team.
We are the better team. Let's go.
The Knicks gave up a draft pick, or the Timberwolves?
The Knicks gave up a first-round draft pick from Detroit.
Oh, they're
Yeah.
coming at us right now, right, Raleigh?
Oh,
That's what's
Detroit was
happening.
one of the last. Detroit was one of the worst teams last year. So
Yeah, but they
that's a lottery pick.
it's a lottery pick. It's a lottery pick. Yes,
Yeah.
100%. Yeah. And I don't know what year the pick is. I haven't seen that.
Wow. Yeah, that's a
Wow,
monster
that's
trade,
a
man.
monster trade. The Knicks just keep getting better. This is a good trade for the Knicks.
Yep.
I don't think they're as deep.
They have enough
They've got a
wing
better starting
defenders.
five, but they're not as deep.
Oh, it is a 2025. It's next year's. It's top 13 protected though. So it won't be inside the top 13 is what I'm reading. Dang.
So Nate, does this put the Knicks over the Celtics?
No, but sorry.
Oh, no, absolutely not. No. It makes them better and more competitive, but like you said, I don't think the Celtics don't have anybody to worry about coming out of the East,
As long as
including the
it's
clowns in Philadelphia. You know,
Have
like
you seen the pictures coming out of Celtics camp of Jalen
no,
Brown? Dude,
no.
he looks
dude
fucking jacked.
lifting
He's
weights
huge.
underwater. Are you fucking kidding
It's
me?
like he just lifted weights all offseason. He is fucking huge. You should Google it. I
Yeah,
would do a
I
screen share if
have.
you want me to.
I've seen that
He's
shit.
huge.
I have seen that shit. Is that good though, Ollie? Like, can he still move the same way?
Yeah, I don't think it's a bad thing.
Of course
He's
he
not
can.
our 3 point shooter. We need him going to the hole. We need him defending. And muscle and
Yeah.
strength are exactly what we need him to pack on. I want him to be able to absorb a huge hit from Cat. That's what we need him to
Yeah.
do. I don't need him shooting threes. We get other guys who can do that. So yes, that's exactly what we need from him, in my opinion.
Yes,
I
we
love
need
the
him to
guy.
be
I
more
love the guy.
durable for
I
sure.
saw the underwater weightlifting, and I was like, holy shit.
Was he breathing? Did he have a breathing apparatus like a scuba?
Listen, listen, Jalen Brown doesn't need to breathe. He just kills shit.
Oh, yeah.
He's pretty good.
I
He
can't
looks
believe that
jacked.
just happened.
Yeah, that's a monster trade, man. That's breaking news right here on Tilton the Scale.
Right
Why
here,
Cat?
Tilton
Like, do
scale.
you? If you're Minnesota, are you holding on to Rudy Gobert over Cat? Like, explain that to me, Nate. It doesn't make any sense. Julius Randle, I guess, is that what it makes sense? He's
What's
getting
his
younger.
contract situation? They just signed him, didn't they?
I feel like they're
Uh,
getting. I mean, they're getting younger, and with Ant, like, I mean, yeah, I guess it's not a bad trade. I just think Julius Randle's a bum. Like, I think Cat's a much better player than Julius Randle, than Rudy Gobert.
Man, if he's durable, if he gets some durability moving forward, like it, I mean,
Who?
yes, Cat Randall, Julius Randall, like he hasn't been very durable the last few years, but so contractually, Towns is in one of he's in the first year of his 4 year, 220 million, and that might be the
Is that a
reason.
super max? That's got to be a super max, right?
Yeah, that's a super max. Yeah. Yes. So, and Randall has 2 years left on his contract at 30 each year. So
Is he
kind
coming
of
into the season healthy,
Randall?
Randall? Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
All right.
I think I think obviously New York won that trade. Like that's a that's a really good asset that they just picked up to get rid of somebody that again
They gave up a
played
lot of good
40
assets.
games.
I like defense Enzio. He's a good shooter. In a first round pick, but it's a 13 protected. So what happens if they're in the 13? It just it just transfers over to the next year.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think
Is it
if there's
protected?
and yeah, I think next yes, it would become unprotected. So it's protected. Now they keep it and it rolls over to the next year. Yeah. I'm sure that there's a contractual or wording in there.
Yeah.
That is more
Big
than
trade.
likely what will happen.
Big trade.
Yeah, that is huge, man. And I think that's a win for New York, man.
I think that could make Minnesota better too. Again, they've got a potentially high first round draft pick within the next 2 years. They've got a legitimate, healthy. Julius Randle is a problem healthy. He's an NBA All Star. He's a
Yeah,
double double machine. Like he's a legitimate NBA player if healthy, right? And I know that's the if, right?
yeah.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see.
No, yeah, it could end up working out as a very even trade, but I mean, Carl Anthony Towns is a perennial All-Star. Julius Randle hasn't
Yeah.
made the All-Star team in a couple of years due to durability issues more so than anything. But I mean,
No, you're right. You're right.
the Knicks were decimated by
Knicks
injuries.
are
I don't
good.
think it wouldn't have mattered either way. I don't think that they were going very deep, but they held on. And again, sad to see Dante DiVincenzo leave because I thought they
I
built a
like
lot of
his
good.
game.
They built a lot of
I
good
like his
rapport with
game.
him and Hart and who is it? Oh, Brunson. Those three played
Brunson.
at Villanova
Brunson's the best
together.
player.
Yeah, those three played and won a championship with Villanova together. And they
Who
were
did?
DiVincenzo, Jason Hart,
Oh,
and Brunson.
not anymore. They got rid of him. I think this might. We'll see. We'll see.
Yeah,
I can't wait to beat him. The Celtics are still the best team in the NBA.
they are. Yeah, they are. All right, breaking news. I like it. Do we want to revisit, or are we done talking about the drones? Or I guess I'll finish
Yeah, if
my
you
part,
you
and then
finish.
you guys can comment. But again, I think we're breaching and stepping over a line of ethics when it comes to how they're being used. I do think that in the realm of technology, they should be used as a deter method, not necessarily as the tip of the spear and the actual action and function with shooting and throwing throwing munitions in the direction of an enemy. Because it's just, I mean, what's the difference between that and a UAV up in the air that drops a missile, a GPS guided munitions onto a house? Like, well, it's more accurate and it's I would argue that both the UAV up in the sky can be detected, and the munition that you're dropping can somehow, if you have the technology, be deterred or destroyed before it impacts. Everything else, all the smaller munitions and the smaller FPV drones, they're very difficult to detect and defend. So then it becomes a matter of, well, how do you defend them? And all it is a signal jammer, right? Like that's
Jammer, yeah,
they
jammer, yeah.
they operate on a frequency. You got to figure out how to jam that, whether it's noise, as in making making the signal undetectable or unreachable from whoever's transmitting it to the drone itself, and confusing it, so to speak. Like, I mean, I just see it as one something we need to evolve from, and we see what it's doing, and now we need to figure out how to evolve from that. Like, when I think about it from a military standpoint, like, obviously from the time we entered Afghanistan and Iraq, like, we've been evolving towards doing something to defend signals in general. Like, uh, we started going outside the wire on foot in Iraq and Afghanistan after we established smaller fobs, and we understood, like, we need armor, like, not just our body armor. Like, we can save lives by having a presence patrol in a vehicle instead of on foot, but that requires us to have some sort of jamming technology to stop IEDs from going off that are, you know, it could be a signal. The only thing that it doesn't stop is a command wire, which is, point to point wire, someone overwatching, actually having to see it and hit the button. But I mean, we've been evolving towards this since we've been at war, and it's one of those things. When we dismount, it's going to require something to be on each person so that essentially they're invisible, whether it's a signal jammer or a masking the signal that you're putting out, so to speak. And when I say signal, like just whether it's your heat signature or the signal that your radio uses when you turn it on and you key the mic and talk to your element. But when you're in the vehicle, you're safe, so to speak, because that also has a signal jammer to jam whatever frequencies are programmed into it. So we've been moving towards this for a while, but just for it to, again, for it to be, when you think about it, like you see the tanks that are taken out by multiple drones. We're talking about like 5 or 10 drones come in, disable the tank. The crew's still alive in it because they're behind the armor, but the vehicle is disabled and it can't move. Well, they got to dismount at some point to get out of that thing, and then they're dealing with those number of drones. And we've seen the video of a drone chasing a guy around a tank, or like they're not moving because the drone can't see them, and then the drone, pivots and gets to a position where they can, and then it's just game over. I can't imagine having to deal with that aspect on the battlefield.
That's not a fair fight.
No, it's not. Technology wins all the time. And I think we should be doing the fighting. Like, I mean, again, as archaic as it sounds, like I'd rather we just pick our champion to represent the United States of America against the one champion in Russia. Let's settle it this way. Like,
Yeah.
Instead of killing a bunch of people, yeah, I get that.
Yeah, but that's idealistic. I understand. I wish we could do that too. But
well, I mean, again, it's very war is it's a fickle thing. Like the people that have been through it don't want to go through it ever again, and we actually are thankful that we've never seen it on our soil, especially Americans, soldiers that have been overseas. If we were to see war over here, and everyone,
right, Dave?
huh?
9/11. We saw it a little bit.
Yeah, but that wasn't. I mean, again, that was a catastrophic event caused by terrorists, cowards that, one act killed many, yes. But so if we think about war, just think about that and having to experience it day after day after day.
Yeah.
That is what war would be like on our soil, on our nation's sovereign soil. Like if we put it in those terms, like, oh, today I went to donate plasma and there was a girl there. She's Lebanese. I was talking to her. She has family that's over there. They're Palestinian. I'm like, oh man, how do you feel about everything that's going on over there? She's like, well, it's crazy. Like, I can't really describe it. I'm like, do you constantly like try and get a hold of them when something goes on and you hear about it in the news, or are you on like a battle rhythm with them to like, as far as contact two ways just to see how they're doing? And she's like, yeah, but it's really hard. And I'm like, yeah, like I can't like, do you ever wonder what it's like over there with all this stuff going on? And she's like, yeah, I've thought about it. And like, I'm like, and then she talked about like what she's a first generation American. Her parents immigrated over, and I was like, well, they did that. They did that so that you would have a better life. Because she started to say like, yeah, I feel guilty that I'm here and like I don't have to deal with all that stuff, and they're dealing with it. I'm like, well, I mean, they did that so that
was your intent to make this poor girl cry? Were you trying to break her down? What was your goal here?
Well, it gets better. It gets better. I started. So she started telling me about her family, and I was just like, she mentioned that she was an immigrant or first generation American, and that it's weird that she is here, and the rest of like the majority of her family, aside from her mom and dad, are all over there. And I was like, well, I'm like, you have a certain skill set. Like you could go over there and volunteer to work in a Red Cross, like if you want to. And I'm like, but I will tell you, war is very different when you're experiencing it firsthand Like, I don't know if that was the right thing to say, but I was trying to like
Like, I
almost
don't know what
motivate
your
her.
goal was with this conversation, but it felt like
I
you
was
came at this poor little girl.
Well, I mean, she made it sound like she was very sympathetic and almost guilty for experiencing the things she has in America on the daily, while her family is like in a war-torn country. And I'm like, well, I mean, you can do something about it if you want. Like, you can again volunteer to work with the Red Cross over there. And I'm like, and I even said,
Is that what's
what you can also do is, since you're here, you can start like a charity event and like get people to donate canned goods or like blankets or whatever you think that your family and the people over there
right?
that are in war
Or you
torn
can bust your ass, save up, and bring your family over, right? Like, I mean, there's a
that
lot of
too, yeah.
avenues that don't involve her going back to a war-torn country. Like I feel like she can address that without putting her life immediately at risk. And I don't feel like it benefits her family at all to put herself at risk.
No, it doesn't, but I mean, hey, she can
There's
stand for
options.
a cause. She can stand for a cause that she believes in. If she so
Yeah, you're tough.
chooses.
You're tough. You're one tough motherfucker, Nate.
She has options, you're right. But no, well, I felt like I was going towards like the compassionate side because then after I started talking, she mentioned that she felt guilty about again living in America and not having to
No
deal with
shit,
all
she
those
felt
things.
guilty. You asked her directly, don't you feel guilty about living in America and having all these nice things and not helping your family? No shit, she feels
No,
guilty
no, I
about
didn't.
that.
No, I didn't. I didn't ask her that. I didn't ask her that. I asked if
That's
she
what you
felt
just
bad.
said.
I asked if she felt bad about
What's the
that.
difference?
Well,
What's the
she shouldn't feel
difference?
guilty. I told her that she shouldn't feel guilty. Yeah, the conversation went in a different way than I thought it would. I was
Yeah,
Yeah.
you think? Jesus
as
Christ.
soon, as soon as she told me she was Palestinian and she had family over there, I don't know. My mind was on other things like FPV drones and stuff like that.
Well, you got to look at
I
it
mean,
realistically. Most
Nate,
Palestinians I know are looking at it like it's a widespread genocide on their people. So if you
Yeah,
ask like kind of nonchalantly, hey man, how do you feel like how things are going over there? The Palestinians that I'm aware of are like they're murdering my kin. Like it's genocide. They're trying to eliminate my people.
yeah,
That's how Palestinians, from my perspective, are from what I've seen, are looking at it.
yeah,
sucks.
yeah. War sucks. That's basically what I told her in a nutshell.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I don't. I guess my point is I don't think they view that as war as much as they view it as genocide. It's not like it's not competitive.
I would
Well,
love
they
They're
it.
should
not. They're not
start.
standing.
Just so you guys know, I would love a chance to get in there and talk to these people. I would love it.
Talk to what people? The Palestinians and the Jews?
Yes, I would
Oh my
love a
fucking god!
chance.
You
Just
just want to go stand in the middle of them? Like they've been fighting this way for for 80 years.
I know. I'd like a chance. I might fail.
Right?
I get that. I just want the chance.
All right, listen.
The
I think
chance.
with a aptly placed plane ticket, you could find yourself right in the middle of them.
I'm
Go
glad.
to go to
Yeah, you too, Chester,
go to the
can
West Bank.
volunteer.
Yeah,
Volunteer with the Red Cross. Go over there, talk to some Jews and Palestinians. Maybe you can do some good over there.
My,
yeah, you can't mess it up. I mean, you can
Yeah.
mess yourself up.
I can't.
You
I
can mess
can't
yourself
make it
up pretty good.
worse. I can't make it worse. So
Can't make it worse. That's true. You cannot. You cannot make it worse.
but I
That's
would love
true.
to. Like my genuine my desire is like, how can I somehow find a way?
Hats
All
off to
right.
you, my friend. I hope you.
Gee,
I hope you can succeed where
I
like
can't.
we're
I
10 generations
I can't.
of
I
people have
can't.
not.
I
But
can't.
I have faith in you. I've seen you work miracles before. Listen, you married way out. You married way out. You married way out of your league. That's a
he
miracle.
definitely did. Yeah, and you kidded her up too. You got that. You planted that seed. Good job.
Giving her up.
Yeah,
His words. Those were his words, not mine.
those are my words for sure. Yeah. All right, so we're done talking about war and FPV drones. Is there anything you guys wanted to talk about?
I feel like I'm ready to end it. I think we can shut it off here in a little bit and critique it. But I feel like this has been a better episode overall. I feel like it's been a higher quality. I feel like if you pull clips off of this, we will have really held up nicely.
No, I like it.
In the coming weeks, for sure. Next week, we look forward to Chet. We're going to do one episode, a 6-week series. We'll do one episode each week on the new McMahon series on Netflix.
Oh man, I love it.
You'll lead that, and then hopefully moving forward, kind of a big project thing is the NIL committee / governing body. I'd like to kind of dive deep
into our bet money, our pool of bet money week to week. Like I'd like to see that continue to grow. I'd like to break it down. Like in an ideal world, I'd love to make enough money that we can use it to get together and have a good time. Like this is my ultimate goal.
Yeah, I'd like to do that.
Actually, seriously, I love that.
What we need to start doing is like instead of doing these single $5 bets, like I was telling Chet, if we all three agree that it's a good bet, then we up it. Like $5 bet is the minimum bet. If I'm the only one that wants to bet that, then it's a $5 bet. If we all three agree, then it's $15, $5 each, you know? And again, the more you bet, the more you have to lose too, but just to throw that out there if we want to, if there's something that we feel strongly about.
If we hit a long odds at $15, we can make $200.
Yeah.
And you hit a couple of those, it'll last us a couple of weeks. It's all reciprocal. You're absolutely right. We got to increase the odds. We got to increase the money. The problem is we don't have a frequent enough hit to justify an increase in money we spend. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like if we were hitting them on a regular basis, where we have.
I was hot there for a minute, and I was betting on college and
are we
NFL.
Are we gonna bet BC again this week? You want to bet BC?
I haven't even looked. Let me. We'll sign off.
Take a